And first of all, I must commend Oshiomole for this audacity that is coming out from him in recent days and weeks, in recent months. Remember, Oshiomole confronted the leadership of the Senate, Gospel Akpabo, for following some of the resolutions or the provisions that were amended that would allow somebody to be eligible to contest for the presidency. When Oshiomole identified that nuances, he rose against the leadership of the Senate and told him point blank that what is going on, that the amendment that has been done or they're looking at is something that is illegal according to the House rule of the Senate. That was that. Also, it was still the same Senator Oshiomole that rose up, during plenary a few weeks ago and called on the Nigerian government to beam a searchlight on some of South African companies in the country following the xenophobic attack, on Nigerians by South African in South Africa. And again, Oshiomole has also, risen up as expected. Remember, last week, the Senate committee or panel threatened arrest warrant against ex-Nnpc MD Nnpc over missing 210 trillion naira. Let me read the story in brief. The Senate Committee on Public Accounts has threatened to issue an arrest warrant against former Group Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, Nnpc Limited, Nnpc, to compel his appearance before the committee. The committee issued the threat following Mr. Kyari's failure to honor several invitations to explain the alleged 210 trillion naira discrepancy flagged in reports submitted by the Auditor General of the Federation covering the period between 2017 and 2023. Mr. Kyari was removed from office by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in April 2025 amid several corruption-related petitions filed against him. Chairman of the committee, Ibrahim Dankwambo, issued the warning during the committee's meeting at the National Assembly on Wednesday last week. Mr. Dankwambo, a former governor of Gombe State, said the committee was left with little choice, because Mr. Kyari had repeatedly failed to appear before it despite being invited on several occasions. A background to what is going on that followed the threat of arrest. The controversy surrounding the alleged 210 trillion discrepancy began in June 2025 after details of Nnpc Limited's audited financial records attracted public attention. At the time, the Senate committee gave the company a 7-day ultimatum to explain the discrepancy. However, Nnpc Limited, now led by Bayo Ojulari, failed to meet the deadline because its top officials were attending a retreat. The company's inability to respond directly to the Senate's queries fueled public concerns over discrepancy and accountability within the National Oil Company. In November 2025, Nnpc Limited submitted a written explanation to the committee stating that 103 trillion represented accrued expenses while 107 trillion was recorded as receivables. The committee, then chaired by Ali Wadada of National Waste, rejected the explanation and insisted that the company's leadership appear in person to provide further clarification. The matter remained unresolved until Mr. Dankwambo, a former Accountant General of the Federation, replaced Mr. Wadada as chairman of the committee and resumed the investigation. And that led to the committee issuing an arrest warrant, to Mele, because here, when something goes wrong in any institution, it is the head that must answer for it. So that is why the committee went to the head, went to Mele, issuing an arrest warrant, on him. But also, during that interview, during that podcast hosted by a very senior colleague in the media, Seun Okebale, when he made Oshiomole to sit down and explain what went wrong, at that committee meeting, at that committee meeting last week Wednesday. Startling speaking, Oshiomole, somebody who has been a stubborn individual in the mind of many, in the eyes of many, and it still is. Remember that he was the former president of the Nigerian Labour Congress, and when Oshiomole was the former president of the Nigerian Labour Congress (NLC), that was when former president Olusegun Obasanjo, was in power. Oshiomole gave Obasanjo a tough time, as regards to fuel price, increase and reducing. Oshiomole gave Obasanjo a tough time when he was president. And if we have more of this individual in our Senate, in the National Assembly, it will be a good atmosphere for the country. And again, he has exposed some of the corrupt recruitment process in the Nnpc. The audio you just heard, let me pick out one or two things from that transcription from that audio. He said, okay, now the second is my response to the former chief financial controller of Nnpc, whose tenure the investigation covers. Remember that during that committee panel, the chief financial controller was I presume was there, so that was why he was making reference to that. Who probably said to the committee that it is your people, that is the senators, those in the National Assembly. And now I know that the senior president, that the Senate president, said that his daughter, was taken by Mele and put in. Well, as Nigerians we see, in a juicy position that he probably didn't merit, and so the senator, in a general manner, said, "Are you senators? Bring your children." And I said, well, you guys have turned Nnpc to a traditional institution where the son inherited the throne of the father. Children, their uncle, their cousins, their in-laws into various aspects of Nnpc and put them in different positions. If they carry out the payroll of Nnpc, you'll find that they have almost turned the top level to a family business. And I said, frankly speaking, the children of senators, not Nigerians. You can only make an issue if you give them a job they did not merit, that they are not qualified for, and we didn't follow the right procedure. But somebody told me that the Senate president's daughter was taken not through a regular interview, not through the normal agency, but that is his own problem. This was Adam's response to that. Now, what he has said, it shows you what is going on in the country. It shows you the level of impunity. It shows you that it is only those that are in power that have the right to grab what they want to grab. It shows you that those that are in power They don't have regard for the masses. Now, taking a look at Akpabio's, because I mentioned Akpabio there, the Senate president. Godswill Akpabio has been a governor, was a governor of Akwa Ibom State for 8 solid years. Then, he was also a minister of Niger Delta, minister of Niger Delta Affairs, I guess. He was once a minister during Buhari's regime. And after that, he was also a senator. And now that he is now in the Senate. So I can authoritatively say that Akpabio has been enjoying government for more than 10 years. And as if that was not enough for him, his son was recruited into the Nnpc. His daughter was recruited into the Nnpc, as if Nnpc or the country is only meant for him and his family. And Akpabio is not the only person though. There are other top politicians in the country whose relations, whose daughters, sons, brothers, sisters, relatives occupy top positions either in the Nnpc or other, using quotes, ministries and departments of agencies. This is what we call nepotism. This is what is going on in Nigeria, where there is no longer transparency. The president has been saying that we need hope. How can there be renewed hope in a country where it is only those that are in authority? How can there be renewed hope in a country where there is nepotism? How can there be renewed hope in a country where there is impunity? How can there be renewed hope in a country where it is only those that are in power that has the opportunity or the advantage to bring in their relatives for appointment? We are all deceiving ourselves in this country as leaders. The leader will say one thing in public, but another thing in private. Who are we deceiving? Who on earth are we deceiving, for God's sake? Who are we deceiving? Our politicians, who are you deceiving? Don't think that you are deceiving us, because with this eye-opener, we already know what is going on in governments. That the son of a Senate president, the daughter of a Senate president, were recruited into the Nnpc without going through the normal protocol, and you want to have renewed hope. It is impossible. Now, Oshiomole is not concerned if the role of the relatives of Akpabio are in the Nnpc, or if the relatives of the senators in the Nnpc or other department of agencies. No. What Oshiomole is concerned about is that whoever will be recruited into the Nnpc, such persons must go through the right process. That is what is after. That is what is after. According to him, he said, but somebody told me that the Senate president daughter was taken without, not through regular interview, not through the normal agency, but that is his own problem. He continued saying, this is not the reason I will be there, and somebody will accuse me if I didn't react in that manner, but I did. I didn't say that the Senate says you are a thief. I didn't say that the Senate says the Nnpc is a house of thieves. So these are some of the corruption that is going on, not only in Nnpc, but in other ministries and departments of agencies in the country. whereby when there is an opening, those who have the opportunity, instead of throwing open the vacancy, they will give slots to senators, to ministers, they will give slots to party leaders in the country, they will give slots to relatives of ministers, relatives of senators, relatives of governors, relatives of the president. This is what is going on. Qualified ordinary Nigerians do not have the right to be at the top level of a state-owned institution, a state-owned institution as the Nnpc. Ordinary Nigerians that are qualified, ordinary Nigerians that have the educational qualification, will no longer be enabled to head top management level in some of the federal government institutions. Those that are in the top level are being reserved for relatives, wives, uncles, in-laws, aunties of politicians. This is what is going on in the country. And you think that when you marginalize somebody, you think that the creator up there will be happy with you? No. Will be happy with the country? No. How can we move forward when this kind of thing is going on in the country? How can the Nnpc itself make progress when recruitment process are not being adhered to? So this is what is going on, listeners, in case you just joined us. This is what is going on. And it is not a new thing. It is not a new thing. Now, not only does the Nnpc, as claimed, as alleged by about Oshiomole, not only does the Nnpc does not follow the recruitment process, but over the years there have been reports of financial misconduct, financial impropriety, financial practices within the Nnpc. Let me read it. In 2013, the former central bank governor Sanusi exposed an alleged diversion of $49.8 billion in unremitted oil revenues, prompting mass legislative probes. That was one. So it is in 2013. Again, in 2016, an official audit found that Nnpc failed to remit $16 billion to the foundation accounts, a scandal that was largely swept under the rug. That story is on BBC. Between 2017 and 2023, questionable contracts and fund misappropriations were heavily documented in an 808-page auditor general report, citing $51 million in irregular payments and non-deductible taxes. That story is on Premium Times Nigeria. In 2025, the EFCC, that is the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, uncovered a $7.2 billion fraud connected to the rehabilitation of the Warri, Kaduna, and Port Harcourt refineries, leading to the arrest of several former top executives. In April, President Bola Tinubu removed former Group Chief Executive Officer Nana Kyari. By September, Kyari was detained by the EFCC for questioning regarding financial misappropriation. That story is on Channels News. On Channels. Again, in 2026 June, following repeated failures by Malekari to appear before lawmakers to explain the 2017 to 2023 210 trillion naira audit queries, the Senate Public Account Committee ordered his arrest. Up to now, Malekari has not been arrested. Malekari has not been brought to the panel to answer questions. Some of the scandals in the Nnpc. Opioid 245 Malabu scandal, a decades-long international bribery and money laundering scandal involving the award of a massive oil block, Opioid 245, where key Nigerian officials, Shell and ENI were indicted, though later largely acquitted in foreign courts. The PwC and Multi audits, independent probes including findings from the Nigerian Extractive Industry Transparency Initiative, have repeatedly accused the corporation of using opaque oil for product swap deals and money slush funds that divert public revenue. Lastly, recent fiduciary scrutiny. Amid controversies, detailed audit by the Auditor General exposed millions of dollars spent on questionable and irregular contractor settlements. So these are the corruption that is going on in the Nnpc, and up to date there has not been any arrest. There have not been, nobody has been taken to court on this massive corruption activities that is going on in the Nnpc. No wonder Obasanjo said a few years ago, I remember vividly, when Obasanjo Tinubu came in, the then petroleum minister, if he's still the minister of state for petroleum, Heineken Mokbobari, boasted that before the year end that the Port Harcourt refinery will be up and running. Obasanjo came to the media and said it is impossible, it cannot be possible, because Obasanjo knew what is going on within the Nnpc. Obasanjo said that it is impossible for this administration to say that the Port Harcourt refinery will be up and running within the given time. It was impossible and it did not work. So the money that was spent to rehabilitate the Port Harcourt refinery, which even in the document it has been said that money has been spent. Why is the functionality of the Port Harcourt refinery? Is Port Harcourt refinery working as expected? Is the Port Harcourt refinery refining petroleum products? Is the Port Harcourt refinery even refining up to 10,000 barrels per day? Even if it is not in the expected capacity. As a Port Harcourt refinery, is that plant refining crude up to 10,000 barrels per day? Nigerians were sick in this country, and until we recognize that we are sick, that is when our healing will begin to come. The leaders in this country, none of these leaders in this country, even if they are sincere leaders in this country, it will be a minute fraction of sincere leaders. Corruption is one thing that is hindering us from moving forward as a nation. Corruption. When will Nigeria be healed from this from this evil. Adams Oshiomole has spoken. His voice has gone to the air. It is now left for those who are supposed to act, and if they don't act, well, that is that. I am yet to see. Now, the onus now rests on the Senate President, his ex-Senator Gospel Akpabio, to effect that warrant of arrest, because according to Oshiomole, quoting, making reference to previous engagements, that it was the Senate President that says that when a committee sits, it is like a mini Senate sits, and whatever is being said in that committee sitting, it is backed. It is as if the whole of the Senate sat. So I call on the chairman of that committee, Bakembo, to do everything possible, because this is not the first time a warrant of arrest will be issued on Nana Kyari. So I call on the chairman of that committee to do everything possible to make sure that Nana Kyari is brought before that committee and answer questions and respond to questions accordingly. Because Nigerians want to know the truth. We want to know how is that money, the 210 trillion naira in unexplained expenses. We want the former head of the Nnpc to appear before that committee or that panel and answer questions. This is where the healing starts. This is where healing starts from. Confronting, being sincere. We want transparency. We want transparency within our institutions. Yes, we have fantastic institutions, but those that are in charge of those institutions, they are corrupt. That is why the Nnpc have not been able to achieve the revitalization of the Port Harcourt refinery. Port Harcourt refinery is not the only refinery that has been lying dead. There was another refinery. There are other refineries, and there are 4 refineries in the country that are not in operation as expected. If not for Dangote, where would Nigeria be? How much will we be buying petroleum products? So Nigerians, listeners, I have laid the fact before you. It is now left for you to decide. This has been political update, where I was talking about some of the secrets that was exposed, some of the secrets within the Nnpc that was exposed by Senator Adams Oshiomole. If you want to watch, a repeat of this program, I would urge you to always go to our social media platforms on X, over at Radio Live on Instagram, over at News on YouTube, over at Radio Live, and on TikTok, over at Radio Lagos, to watch our past programs here on Over Radio.